Well, hello, and this is your next assignment, which I am going to call Zentangle. Zentangle, and you all have heard of Zentangle. I want you to see the, and I've blown it up. Here are your assignments for the semester that I have on my machine. And I've asked you guys to replace the text and lettering part 1 and 2 with music icons, right? I've asked you to replace the Viper prep art with the logos, which is number 4. And I want to not replace the transform tool. I want you to practice with the transform tool 5.1. But I am going to add 5, which is the Zentangle, to the modules, and you'll see it in front of you. And it won't take you long. The whole thing only took me about 3.5 hours just to get done, and I'll show you what I did in a minute. But you don't have to do the graph, and you don't have to do the Viper spread ad. And the gradient mesh I'll tell you about later, and the neon clock is going to be your final project in the class, okay? Even though down here it says 10.1 final portfolio project, the neon clock is going to be your final project. So again, please do Zentangle, but also do the transform tool. Now let's go right to the Illustrator finished piece of Zentangle art that I have, and I'm going to show you what I based it off of. This is a very fun and simple, even though everything looks complex inside, it's not. Okay, I'm going to show you a few things, but what I'm going to show you in the first 10 minutes of the movie is how to do the whole thing, and then you can skip through the rest of the movie to watch the parts that I created. Okay, so first I'm going to bring over the my Chrome, and I'm going to show you that I googled 2 things. I googled Zentangle art, and just to see what Zentangle art was. I even went to my tool settings, and I actually in this one sized it out to a large size, and then I just found a couple of examples that I really liked. This being one of them. This is fine. This is a good one. I'll close it. But I'm also going to go to Zentangle coloring books. So I also did that one. And this very first one is the one that I actually took for quite a bit of my ideas. And I'll just show it to you. Okay, so you can just download this right to your screen. Okay, now I'm going to give you 4 examples. I'm going to put this on my other screen, and I'm going to show you that in my examples for Zentangle, I got this one. I'll put it back on my other screen in a minute. I got this one. I want to leave them open on my other screen, and there's the one I just showed you. I'm going to get another series of Zentangle patterns just to look at, not to take and not to use perfectly, but just to look at. And there's another set of Zentangle patterns. Now I kept those, and if you can wait for me to move them back on my other screen, I just have those as my influence items or my reference in my imagination items. So what I did was I created this artwork. My name is Brian, so I just made it into a B. I don't care what letter you use, but I'm going to start off by showing you just how easy this whole thing can be. So I'm going to turn off my artwork, and I'm going to show you how I took my first initial letter and I made the insides be a little bit bigger. So I customized it. Okay, now you all know how to type, so I'm going to turn off the shadow, and I'm going to turn off the Zentangle thing, and I'm going to duplicate my letter B just to show you how simple it was. So I'll turn off the top one, or actually I should have turned off that one, and I'll just hit the A key for the direct select tool, and you can see how it's a font. It's still a font. So I'll back off on it, I'll hit the T key, and I'll go get my character palette, and you can go play with it. Mine was Noteworthy, the font Noteworthy. So in a minute I'll just Command Z back, but you can leave it selected with the direct selection tool. Okay, see? So get your character palette, which is under Window, Type, and over there to Character. And now drag across it and just hit your up and down arrows, and then you can go choose a good letter. That would not be a good Zentangle letter. It does not thin enough, or it's too thin, I'm sorry. And anything that's serif like this wouldn't be good because these little things here actually get too skinny. Now if you want to choose that, then thin down the interior letter like I'm going to do on my letter B for you. Okay, so I'll go back to Noteworthy. I'll just hit Command Z back a couple of times, and I'll go back to my noteworthy one, which is right there. And I'm going to duplicate it so I don't lose the original, right? So I'm going to move my character palette over for a second. So I made a copy of it, see? Okay, so now you go up to Type and Create Outlines. Now in creating the outlines, I'm going to just immediately quickly flip, but I want to open this up first and remind you in this group what a compound path is. Okay, a compound path is something that actually has transparency to it. So if I hit the M key and just make a different color on this, I just want to remind you that if I send it to the back behind my letter B, either by just moving it like this underneath the letter, or I'll Command Z back, going to Object, Arrange, Send to Back, which is Shift Command left bracket. So I'm going to do those Shift Command right bracket things and Shift Command left bracket things through this whole thing. What I wanted you to see is, again, what a compound path is. It's something that has a hole in it. Okay, so I'm going to move this over extremely quickly. I'm going to take an L key, which is the ellipse, and I'm going to hold Option and Shift and make a fill of white here, okay, and I'll just put a black stroke on it just to have it, just for a second, okay. It didn't take. Let me just do it again. Okay, now I'm going to make another shape. So I'm going to hit Command C and Command F, and I'm going to hold Option and Shift so that it goes from the center out, and I can scale it from the center. And I'm going to kind of make a letter O. All right, so I'll fill that with any color. I don't care. Whoops. I'm going to take the fill and I'm just going to click it with any color. Now, what is a compound path? A compound path is, and I want to move this over to the corner here so you can see that corner through here in a second. It's a little shape on a big shape, and both shape are positive or add shapes. So what does a compound path do? Well, if you use the Pathfinder thing and you minus the front here, it does the same thing as what a compound path does. So I'll click it and you'll see how that actually turned into a, and if you look over here, the word compound path. See it? Now I'm going to Command Z back. What's the long way to do it? Object, compound path, make. Same thing. I used minus front or object, compound path, make. Now that simply says that the inside shape has become a negative shape. Okay, so I'm going to delete those out because I don't want them anymore, and I'm going to get right to it. Okay, so I'm going to click on my outline path, my compound path. Let me move Pathfinder over to my other screen, and let's just flip this. Now I just clicked that little thing there, and it's actually Shift X to flip the stroke and fills. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to shrink it. Okay, so I'm just going to make it smaller. So I'm going to go to the scale tool, and I made mine about 60% if I remember correctly. I think I made it 80%. That's okay. I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to click on this one. So now I'm taking I can't click on it with the regular tool, selection tool, because then everything selects. So this is when I actually show you again to tear off. See this tear off here? I'm going to tear it off, and I'm going to click the group selection tool. Now if I stay in the direct selection tool, the group selection tool is the Option or Alt key. So I have a choice. I can click here or just stay in the direct selection tool, hold the Option key and click on that. Now I've isolated that out of there. I'm going to double click and make it 80%. Now I have to kind of do a little custom work over here. Compound pathing made too many points when creating outlines made too many points. Do you see all these points that are on that straight line? Whoa, that's way too many points. So I'm going to take the P key, and please use the pen tool to subtract out unwanted or unneeded points. Why did I do that? So that I can, let me see if there's any up here. No, there isn't. So I could take the direct selection tool, click on that point, and just move it up a little bit just to give that roundness here a little bit more meaning, like now this kind of fits, okay? And now this one should actually come up a little bit just to give it a little bit more our accuracy. And I did, next time I actually took this one and said, well, that is kind of a weird one, so I'm gonna this one here. So I'm going to subtract it out, and I'm going to subtract this out, and now I'm going to, in the pen tool, I'm going to hold the command key or control key down, and you can see how I can get to the selection tool. Now I've kind of rounded that off nicely. It just feels good. There's a little kink right there, and I don't like that kink. Do you see it right there? Okay. You either grab this to make the handlebar straighter, or you hold down the Option key in the pen tool and you pull out two new well-rounded handlebars. Now I can take it and make it rounded. Notice there's no kink in that little line there anymore. And I like that little curve that's right there. Okay, so there's my B. There is the thing that I'm going to base a lot of stuff off of. Now, this is where I show you very quickly how to do this job. I've created in a working art layer all of these cool things that I'm going to use for, I have to turn off something in the working art layer. So please don't pay attention to what I'm doing. I'm going to turn off this compound path here so I don't see it. And I'm going to lock it. Okay. In this working art layer that I made outside of here, I made some stuff. I made some cool stuff. I'm going to start with this piece here. I'll show you later how I did it, but watch when you get all this done. Create some cool patterns based on everything that I showed you from the Zentangle art. So, like I said, I have this one on my screen so I can get ideas from. Okay, now I'm going to come and select this one with my V key. So I'm just going to select that one. I'm never going to ruin it. All right, so I want you to I want to make sure because I have a whole bunch of stuff here and I'm going to turn it off. I don't want that one to be on the screen. Okay, so I'm going to work on, this is going to be my, I want to make sure I'm in the right group. So I'm going to actually make a new layer. Gosh, I'm so sorry for this, but I'm going to make a new layer, put it on top of everything. And I'm going to call it my demo, Zentangle art. And then that's the one I'm going to put everything in. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my original copy. I actually have to move the new thing I made up into it. Now I did. I just grabbed it and moved it into it. Now I can turn off the copy. I can turn off everything else, but I don't want to turn off my working art layer. But I'm going to make a new working art layer, okay, in a little bit. So I have this one selected. I want it over here, and I want the lines of the B to crop out whatever I don't want. So I find it. See how I named it shape 6? See that? So I'm going to duplicate it. Just drag it to the new layer icon. Now I have two shape 6s. Okay, great. I'm going to pick up one of them with the E key, the transform tool. Don't grab it by the middle, and just place it where I want. Let's actually have this one be the upper area of my letter B. So look at, I'm turning it, and I'm going to make it slightly bigger. And now there's my first one. So I've already started my thing, right? Now I take this and put it up into, look at how I'm dragging, up into my Zentangle art layer. Okay, well I don't like the yellow selection color, so Brian is going to talk in third person about himself and change it to something like brick red or something, just so we can see it. Okay, cool. So I have a working art layer. I made a shape, I duplicated it, and I moved it up to another layer. Now watch how simple this is. Every single time you move something to the layer, you are going to want to move it below the thing that's going to become the clipping mask. But you're only going to have to do the thing I'm going to do now one time. Okay, so I click on the outer group. See the letter B? It's not a letter B anymore, it's a shape B. And I'm going to shift click on the circle for this. We're going to make a clipping mask so that the rest of the stuff outside goes away. So object, clipping mask, which is command 7. Remember I said that. Make. Now look at how it clipped the rest of it away. Now look in here. It says clip group. There is where you are going to put everything else. So do you see shape 6? Watch how I take a new shape. And I'm just going to put it below shape 6. So I'm going to click on that. We're going to put it below or above shape 6, depending on if you want shape 6 to be the front thing or the back thing. So let's go get another one. Now let's pretend you made these shapes. So I'm going to hit the V key. I'm going to click on this shape. I simply made a circle, made a bunch of circles around it, and made it into a daisy. But that's not what this is about. I'll show you how I made that in either movie 2 or in this movie. I might make all my shapes in movie 2. I think that might be really cool. Okay, so I'm going to find it. See, in my working art layer, I just made this. Fine, it's shape 12. I'm going to duplicate it. Isn't that cool? Now I have 2 shape 12s. Now, I'm going to pick it up with the E key, and I'm going to move the new shape 12 over here. Now, I had to do something first. I am so very sorry. Do you see in this clipping group that we made, I can't see the outline of my letter B anymore. So you can go into this clipping mask. Do you see this top item that's in here, right here? Don't click the top circle of the parent group. This is now our parent art. I'll even call this, it's called Demo Zentangle Art. Okay, I just didn't go up high enough. Good. So now this is actually my clipping border, but go open it, toggle it, open. Okay. Now inside this group, I want you to go inside and click on the circle for the clipping mask only, not the circle for anything else. Notice how I had to go like 3 times inside to get to that. This is important. Now I'm going to click to the stroke in the tool palette, click to the black, and I'm going to make it be somewhat thick so we can see it. It's 2 points in thickness. Now please watch what I'm doing right now. It's very important. Lock it. Just lock it, because you don't want to click on it and change it. That's important. Okay. Now let's go get number 12. I told you that, look at over here, there's 2 of them. See? There's 2 of them. Now to click on it correctly, I'm going to find the circle for number 12. I'm going to hit the E key and move it over like this. Well, I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to start with this one, not lose much of my shapes, and I'm going to hold the Shift key, and I'll just put it in here so it's all covered up. Let me move it over so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to go like this, and I kind of like it, just like that. I could actually turn it, couldn't I? I could just turn it sideways, and it'll be the sideways thing in there. And I'm going to pull it a little farther, so I hold the Shift key and make it slightly bigger. Now I'm going to put it up a little higher and a little bit over like this, and a little bigger even. Okay, so now I like where that is. I'll straighten it out a little bit, even though I don't mind it at an angle. I'm losing some of my nice designs, so maybe I am not going to worry about that, and I'm just going to put it like this. I'll turn it back the way I asked, but that the way I had it in the first place. I didn't finish my sentence. But this is the kind of thing I want you to do. I want you to experiment with relationships and sizes. Okay, that's cool. Maybe now I made it a little bit too big. There, now it's perfect. I'll hit Command S to save the file. Now let's watch what I do with it. Let's move it up. Look at how I'm going to move it up closer to the top so I can show you this at one time. So you saw how I grabbed it where there was nothing, meaning no radio button, no word. Now, see shape 6? Just pick it up, and do I want it below shape 6 or above shape 6? Look, I've now put it inside, and it's going to be clipped with the same thing that the other one was clipped with. And I have to see why it wasn't clipped. I think I moved the wrong one in. I moved the wrong one in. Oh, that is so funny. I moved the wrong shape 12 in. Okay, that's why it's not working. So I need to move it back out. Oh, that's so funny. Okay. I don't mind being stupid in front of you. That's fine. I don't mind. Okay. I actually moved this one inside the word. It was actually this one that I should have moved. So I'm clicking it. I'm moving that layer up. Oh gosh, that was so funny. So please forgive me. Now watch what happens when I zoom in. you're going to make that mistake too. So just Command Z back, place it back where it should go off the, what I mean by that is place this back over here where it should go off the pasteboard. Okay, now let's put shape 12 wherever I put it. Okay, Brian, where did you put shape 12? Right there. And now let's put it underneath shape 6. Okay, see how it's clipped? Perfect. Now let's go get another one. This time I won't make a mistake. Let's go get this kind of neat shape over here. Let's go click on it. It is shape 5. Duplicate shape 5 or whatever shape you want. Just simply pick it up with the E key, place it in where you want, and I'm going to flip it around so that I can have the I'm going to put it over here. That's good. And I'm going to turn it. That's actually really good. That's actually really good there. I'll make it bigger. And I'll move it over so I can get some of that shape to show up. I'm going to shrink it. Let me zoom in. Let me shrink it like this. Okay, right to that corner here. And now I'm going to shrink it like this. From this corner, whoops, I'm sorry. I need to shrink it like this down to here and turn it just ever so slighter right there, a little bit more. Let me make it deeper. Okay, and turn it more. Up a little bit more. Turn it more. Oh goodness, I'm losing it. Okay, I don't like what I just did there. See, it's kind of like you just have to play a little bit of a game of maneuvering and it will work. I'm just going to move it a little bit more, a little bit more. I think I almost have it right there. So I'm going to use that one. Okay, that's fine. Now, take shape 5, put it below shape 12. Look at how it clips it. So do you see how easy it is actually once you get your shapes made to actually use and put it inside your letter? So look at how I have this shape, shape 6, shape 12, and shape 5 inside my clipping group. If you have to watch that again, then go ahead and watch it. So I'm going to turn this off, all right, so we can see the real one that I made down here, the finished one. I need to close the working art layer. Good. Close the demo layer. And now I have the ability to turn on my other layer. And now I'll turn on the shadows that I made. So the next movie is going to be showing how I make some of these shapes. And I'll start with the two shapes that I made, and then I'll show you how to make this pattern shape here. I'll show you how to use different things like the rotate tool to do some things like this. This was fun to actually do. And I'll show you how to make a single stroke and turn it into something like this. Okay, so come back with the next movie. The size of this file was 8.5 by 11. I should have said that, but it'll be written in the README file for this. 8.5 by 11. And enjoy it. Okay, I look forward to seeing all the creative shapes that you're going to make, and movie 2 will start to discuss how I made my certain shapes. Thanks.